It was an emotional day yesterday as a new Kobe Bryant statue was unveiled outside of Crypto.com Arena. It features the NBA star and his daughter Gianna.
And today the public will get their first look at that statue.
A hidden drawer in Vanessa Bryant's mansion. Hundreds of letters from Kobe, including one written just weeks before the crash, where he admitted he felt something was coming. Secret notes. A charm bracelet never given. Lawsuits, family battles, and questions about missing millions. Was it love, grief, or a master plan Kobe left behind? Here's what they found in Vanessa Bryant's estate, and it's bad. Let's discover. Kobe, Vanessa, and the legacy he left behind. It all began with a shock the world still struggles to process. A helicopter crash in January 2020 did not just take Kobe Bryant, it also took his 13-year-old daughter Gianna and left behind a family, a fan base, and a global community shattered. Kobe was not just a player. He was a global figure, and when his life ended suddenly, it felt like the air was ripped out of the room. Tributes rose everywhere, from giant murals in Los Angeles to small court paintings in Manila. His motto, Mamba Mentality, became more than words. It was a way of life for millions. But beyond the murals and the tears, another story quietly started to unfold. Because when Vanessa Bryant eventually sold one of their family estates, workers stumbled onto something inside that would stop them cold. If the world thought they already knew Kobe, what private fears did he hide from everyone? What exactly was pulled out of Vanessa Bryant's estate? And why are people calling it not just emotional, but bad? Kobe Bryant's story always started with basketball, but it never ended there. Drafted straight out of high school in 1996, he spent 2 decades with the Los Angeles Lakers, winning 5 championships and leaving behind a resume that placed him among the all-time greats. His list of honors was endless: 18 All-Star selections, MVP awards, and Olympic gold medals. By the time he retired in 2016, he had scored more than 33,000 points, cementing himself in NBA history. But what made Kobe different was how far his influence traveled. He was idolized in China, remembered warmly in Italy, where he spent part of his childhood, and worshipped in the Philippines, where every street court had a mural of him. His impact was not just sporting, it was cultural, and it stretched across continents. That kind of fame created serious wealth. Kobe earned over $328 million just from his NBA salaries. His endorsements added hundreds of millions more. He partnered with brands like Nike, Sprite, McDonald's, Panini Trading Cards, and Turkish Airlines. His Nike line, especially the Kobe sneakers, became legendary and still sell out to this day. But while many athletes spend their fortunes on fast cars, flashy houses, or risky side hustles, Kobe did something else. He treated his fortune like fuel for something bigger, a foundation, a safety net, and ultimately a legacy that he wanted to last far beyond his playing years. One of his boldest moves was Body Armor, a small sports drink company that most people laughed off in 2014. Kobe invested $6 million and got directly involved in everything from flavor tests to label designs. Critics called it a waste of time. But in 2021, Coca-Cola bought the company for $5.6 billion, turning Kobe's small investment into roughly $400 million. That single business decision earned him more than his entire 2-decade playing salary. But Body Armor was just one move on a bigger chessboard. In 2013, Kobe teamed up with entrepreneur Jeff Steibel to launch Bryant Steibel, a $100 million venture capital firm. Their investments spanned tech, gaming, and e-commerce. Alibaba, Dell, Epic Games, LegalZoom. People who worked with him often said Kobe came into meetings more prepared than seasoned investors, with notes, strategies, and hard questions that even CEOs were not expecting. He treated money and business the same way he treated basketball, a craft that demanded mastery. For Kobe, success was not just about scoring points. It was about creating long-term control, a structure that his family could stand on even if he was not there. Then came Granity Studios, Kobe's creative venture into storytelling. This was not a vanity project. It was a platform to shape narratives, publish books, and create animated shorts. Dear Basketball, his 2017 film, won an Academy Award, making Kobe the first athlete to ever hold an Oscar. He followed up with children's books and sports-themed novels for young readers, weaving lessons about discipline, resilience, and imagination. The message was clear. Kobe was building something beyond trophies. He was trying to capture values and pass them on, even if he could not always be there in person. All of this added up to a fortune estimated at over $600 million. But when the helicopter crashed in 2020, it was not just the world that lost Kobe. All of that wealth, all of those projects, every unfinished plan fell into the hands of one person, Vanessa Bryant. She was not just the grieving widow. She was now the manager of an empire. Her role was complicated. Vanessa had been with Kobe since she was 17 years old, a teenager swept into a relationship with one of the NBA's brightest rising stars. Together, they raised 4 daughters, Natalia, Gianna, Bianca, and Capri. Their marriage survived scandals and a near divorce, but by the time Kobe passed, they had reconciled and were a united family. Now, Vanessa had to guide her daughters through unthinkable grief while also navigating the enormous responsibilities of Kobe's business holdings. At the same time, she faced public and private pressures that made everything heavier. Kobe's parents, Joe and Pam Bryant, had long been estranged from him after attempting to auction off memorabilia without his permission. Their relationship was still strained at the time of his death, and questions about inheritance and family dynamics lingered. On Vanessa's side, her own mother, Sophia Lane, filed a lawsuit in 2020, claiming Kobe had promised to support her financially for life. She demanded millions in back pay and even luxury items. Vanessa responded fiercely, calling the claims fabricated and deeply hurtful. The case was settled quietly in 2021, but it left the impression of a family already under enormous strain. This is the weight Vanessa inherited, not just wealth, but responsibility, controversy, and an empire built by one of the most driven men in modern history. Managing the Nike deals, the Granity projects, the venture capital partnerships, and the foundation work became her reality overnight. And with that background in mind, the discovery in the estate takes on a darker meaning. Because if Kobe spent his life building systems to last, then what was left hidden inside those walls was not just memorabilia. It might have been the most private piece of his plan, and the key to understanding what he feared the most. From book release to haunting letters. In the same year that Vanessa Bryant announced her upcoming book, Mamba and Mambacita Forever, a project intended to honor Kobe and Gianna through global tributes, murals, and photographs, reports surfaced of a private discovery that left everyone stunned. Away from the glossy arena statues and charity events, a much darker and far more intimate discovery was made in a home Vanessa once lived in. It was the kind of discovery that forces us to ask, what did Kobe know in the final weeks of his life? And did Vanessa already have the keys to the answers? During renovations at Vanessa Bryant's Newport Coast estate, a hidden compartment was uncovered, and inside were hundreds of letters written by Kobe Bryant himself, stretching back nearly 2 decades. This discovery is not just about private notes from a husband to a wife. One letter in particular, dated only weeks before the fatal helicopter crash, carried a message that feels more like a premonition than anything else. These are things that were never meant for cameras, publishers, or the public. They were tucked away, private, almost secretive. And when they were finally revealed, they painted a picture of Kobe Bryant that was raw, vulnerable, and disturbingly aware of his own mortality. The letters ranged from quick notes scribbled on hotel stationery to elaborate messages prepared for future milestones. Some were written to Vanessa with the chilling phrase, "If something happens," almost as if Kobe was rehearsing the possibility of leaving earlier than expected. Others were addressed to his daughters, filled with fatherly hopes and advice. There were notes about the kind of men he hoped they would one day marry, reminders to always support each other, and gentle instructions for things as simple as teaching little Bianca how to ride a bike or Capri's favorite lullabies that he wanted preserved. They were human, tender, and unfiltered. Among the bundle was an envelope sealed with a simple line written on the front, "For V, on our 30th anniversary." That anniversary never came, and the envelope was never opened by the person it was intended for. Alongside it was a charm bracelet wrapped in tissue paper, with each charm symbolizing a milestone in their relationship: birthdays, tournaments, anniversaries. The final charm, a gold piece engraved with Kobe's number 24 in his own handwriting, was something he had never given to Vanessa. But the most disturbing element came from one particular letter, dated only a few weeks before the crash. In it, Kobe admitted to feeling as if something was coming, though he could not explain what. He wrote that if anything happened, the letter should only be read when Vanessa was ready. The language was vague, not a clear prediction, but it carried the weight of a man who often spoke about racing against time. Kobe had long described feeling pressure, not just on the court, but in life, to accomplish as much as possible in the time he had. To his friends and business partners, he sometimes joked that he worked like a man who thought his clock was ticking faster than everyone else's. This letter suggested those words were not jokes at all. What makes this discovery even more unsettling is how Vanessa acted in the months and years after the tragedy. She sold the Newport Coast mansion quietly and moved elsewhere with her daughters. Publicly, she appeared devastated, but at the same time, she stepped almost immediately into the role of empire manager. She began reviewing contracts, negotiating with Nike, pushing forward lawsuits, and reorganizing the foundation work. For some, this was the natural response of a woman determined to protect her late husband's legacy. For others, it raised questions. Was she acting purely from instinct? Or was she following a set of instructions Kobe had left behind? Could the hidden letters and items in that compartment have been part of a broader plan Kobe had been shaping long before the crash? This is where Kobe's well-known habit of contingency planning becomes relevant. Friends and colleagues have spoken about a folder he kept labeled "just in case." It reportedly contained notes, strategies, and reminders for what to do if he was not around. The idea of an athlete keeping a folder like this might sound unusual, but for Kobe, it fit perfectly with his reputation for preparation. On the court, he was known for studying game film relentlessly, learning every opponent's tendencies. Off the court, he treated business and life the same way, making sure every angle was covered. The letters in the hidden drawer seem to echo that same mentality, only more personal. They suggest he was thinking about futures he might not live to see and wanted to make sure his family would have guidance. If those letters were fragments of the just-in-case master plan, then the implications go beyond emotional tributes. They could point toward financial instructions, roadmaps for how to manage his vast empire, or even details about accounts and investments not widely known. Kobe's net worth was estimated at over $600 million at the time of his death. But public figures never tell the full story. Large fortunes often involve complex layers of trusts, shell companies, and offshore accounts designed to protect assets and minimize taxes. If Kobe left behind notes about such structures, then the contents of that hidden drawer could have been far more sensitive than just family letters. This is where the story takes on a darker, more speculative edge. Observers noticed how seamlessly Vanessa moved into control of Kobe's empire. She renegotiated the Nike partnership after an initial contract lapse, pushed forward the Mamba and Mambacita Sports Foundation, and stepped into legal battles that required significant confidence and clarity. Some called her efficient, others called her calculating. Could it be that she already knew Kobe's blueprint, either through conversations with him or because she discovered those instructions after his death? Was her speed in taking control the mark of a woman thrust into survival mode? Or was it the result of being too prepared for a tragedy no one saw coming? The idea of missing millions only fuels this speculation. Reports of Kobe's wealth, they always cite the $600 million figure. But financial analysts point out that with deals like Body Armor's $400 million payout and Bryant Stible's tech portfolio, the numbers may not have been fully visible. Investments often take the form of equity shares or private holdings that do not show up in net worth lists until they are sold. Could some of Kobe's assets still be hidden, not yet claimed or revealed? And if so, did the letters in Vanessa's estate include clues about where to find them? Vanessa, after the crash, protector or strategist? When Kobe Bryant's helicopter went down in January 2020, most of the world assumed Vanessa Bryant would retreat from the spotlight, disappear into private mourning, and allow others to handle the business empire left behind. Instead, within weeks, she emerged as the central figure, not only grieving publicly, but also taking firm control of decisions that would shape the future of Kobe's name, brand, and wealth. For some, this was an inspiring display of resilience. For others, it felt like a carefully executed strategy that hinted she might have been more prepared for this role than anyone realized. Was Vanessa simply reacting to tragedy, or was she stepping into a position she had quietly been groomed for all along? Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Click the next video for more exciting content.